himself. So you must have learned a lesson from there that when you betray people, you'll have such internal turmoil and a troubled conscience that whatever you do, wherever you go, you'll always be looking over your shoulder to see if there are some imaginary enemies following you. But I'm sure you sleep silently, quietly, without any such troubled conscience. Keep it up. Lastly, your uncle that I defended did not finish paying my fees. Now that you have tremendous income coming through the sale of your book, you may have to visit me for us to look at my file. Thank you very much. I'll now invite the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, our Prime Cabinet Secretary. Hongera sana ndugu yangu Duale. Keep it up.
Huyu Papa wa Roma na lusungu yake. Your Excellency, the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the man of the moment, the man of the hour, Sheikh Aden Duale. Very little Kiswahili has been spoken here, so I'll try and say something in Kiswahili. Pongezi Sheikh Aden Duale kwa kuweka rekodi ya ziara yako katika msitu wa siasa hadi wa leo. Katika huo msitu umeweka rekodi vile uliepa simba, ndovu, kifaru na kadhalika na fisi. Kwa hiyo tunasema pongezi kabisa kwa sababu umetupatia rekodi hiyo, na ni vizuri wenzetu pia watupatie rekodi yao tukienda mbele. But now let me just point out one or two things. I had a chance to also scan through the book, and there's a thread of courage. It takes a lot of courage to say the things you have said, but also to have gone through those things and you come out in one piece. You have been very frank. You have also shown that you have endured and you have the capacity to endure and to go through challenges without falling apart. I would just like to highlight that in the book you juxtapose political deceit and political forthrightness very vividly, where one can see the bad side of politics and even the good side of politics. Your Excellency, there is a book by Jeffrey Archer. They call it, I think it's Jeffrey Archer, Honor Amongst Thieves. Some of you have read it. What Duale has brought out here is that there can also be honor amongst politicians. Politics is not always dishonorable. It is really what we choose to make it. And this book brings out a very strong statement on that particular aspect. Finally, The Honorable Duale asked me to say something about Madimoni. For those who don't know, Madimoni simply means ghosts, evil spirits. I was taught in my culture from childhood that at night you do not talk about ghosts and you do not talk about evil spirits because you shall have bad dreams. Since it is dark, I will leave the story of Madimoni for another day. So let me now call the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, to come and make his remarks and invite the President.
Kiongozi wetu, Your Excellency President William Ruto, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the man of the moment, the Honorable Aden Duale, and all the good people gathered here this evening. Good evening. Your Excellency, today we have left it to Duale to be the truthful person. And we want to say that, Honorable Duale, you have done us proud, because putting to account for the record is good for this country. The people of this country for a long time have been very uncomfortable with the truth. Very uncomfortable. And this is a new beginning. Most of them have a few problems with us because of being truthful. As we have just spoken, we have put nothing on record. At least Honorable Duale has started putting it on record. It's the right thing to do. And Your Excellency, I will not be writing anything shortly because I don't think Kenya is ready yet for me to put on record what I need to do. I think let me allow Professor Kindiki, the Attorney General, Papa Aroma, a few people to get, it's a gradual thing, to get Kenyans to get used to the truth. In another 2, 3, 4 years, when I assess, Your Excellency, with your guidance, that these Kenyans need to hear the story on the difficult journey of the ascendancy of President William Ruto to the presidency and the futile attempts to stop him. We'll record that when the time comes. And it will be interesting. And Kenyans need to know the truth. Your Excellency, what the Honorable Duale has done is a very big step in our attempts to bring to an end the politics of deceit, conmanship, and betrayal. Because conmen and betrayers fear being called out. So I think it's a good practice we start calling them out and giving an account of the intrigues around power. Your Excellency, I must admit today, because I'm a truthful man, that when Honorable Duale was sacked, I celebrated. I may look a mischievous person for celebrating the sacking of Duale, but I had a good reason. Your Excellency, Honorable Duale was in our team, but he was not available because he was in Parliament. He was in the National Assembly pushing the agenda of Jubilee and President Uhuru Kenyatta. So when he was sacked, I was very happy because he was now available for us in matters strategy and in matters messaging. And we took advantage. Kenyans hate betrayal. Kenyans hate people being treated unfairly. Kenyans knew the kind of work Aden Duale had done for the President, Kenyatta, and Jubilee, and were very unhappy the way he had been treated. So when we were going out with the President William Ruto, we would send vehicles to announce that in our entourage will be one Aden Duale. And Kenyans would turn up to listen to Aden Duale because they felt he had been treated unfairly. The same thing happened with Kithure Kindiki. When he was Deputy Speaker, he was not available to strategize for us. So when he was shown the door, the man was available 24/7. The same with Murkomen. So in a way, one of these days, when President Uhuru Kenyatta gets time and compassion to give me our audience, I'll thank him for chasing away these people. Because by doing so, he created a solid team that had a great resolve to succeed. Because the truth be said, if William Ruto had lost, it would have been very difficult for this team. If William Ruto had lost, in my scheme of things, and I know and I'm right, I would be serving the 5th month in committee now. All these people would not be here. So what happened because of the persecution? A very serious team evolved with a great resolve to succeed. And that is what contributed in a great way to propel President William Ruto to the presidency. Your Excellency, loyalty is what you have shown us. And what the Professor Kindiki has said is true. Honorable Aden, Duale, and most of us have little regard for money. Money is just legal tender. When you don't have money, it's because somebody else has. It leaves your hands, it goes to somebody else. Your Excellency had this team that worked around you, gave in to monetary offers. These people would be billionaires. Money was offered left, right, and center for the betrayal of William Ruto. But men and women of substance, great men, said no, money is not everything. People must stand for something. And Your Excellency, we must also thank you because you have also been very loyal to your friends. And it's clear that a man who was persecuted because of standing with you today is the Minister for Defense in your government. A man whom I don't know whether he'll put in his book, who was almost assassinated on the 14th of August, Professor Kithure Kindiki, is today your Minister for Interior. Kipchumba Murkomen, who was thrown out of the Senate, is today your Minister for Transport and Roads. And you, as Trude, who was locked up every Friday, is your Deputy President. Your Excellency, it's about you. This loyalty is you. And I think it's a good thing for this country that people must know you must stand for something. And you must stand for what you believe in. Because it's important. So I want to say, Honorable Duale, thank you very much. I met Honorable Duale when we were in ODM. By the way, all of us were in ODM. President William Ruto was in ODM. Retired President Uhuru Kenyatta was in ODM. I was in ODM. Musalia was in ODM. So these young boys who came to ODM the other day, they should respect us as their seniors in ODM. And we developed a good relationship with the Honorable Duale. Later on, we did one or two things in business. And he's also a man of honor. If you do a business together, he'll do what you have agreed. Unless he changes, I don't think he can change now. And later on, he came to Parliament, he was our leader and gave us very good leadership. And when he came to the presidential campaign, he gave it a lot of vigor, he gave it his all. Honorable Duale, we salute you. And what you have done is the right thing. And let everybody who has time put something down. With my exception, let me wait a little bit for Kenyans to get used to truth. Then at the right time, we shall do what we need to do. With those very remarks, I want to request you to be upstanding and help me to usher in the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Ricky. Asante sana. Tafadhali, let us take our seats. Thank you very much. my friend Aden Bare Duale, distinguished leaders present here this evening, members of the diplomatic corps, Mama and family. I am very happy this evening. And I'm very happy this evening because you all agree that this evening Aden Duale is in his element. He is a happy man. Because my friend Aden Duale is happy, I am very happy. He has said many things. I just want to underscore that it is true I have been to Aden Duale's house countless times. And it is true what he said, that all the time whenever we are in his place, we are served tea and food. He already did not say that it's normally not done by him. It is done by this great lady, gracious lady. Thank you very much, Mama, for standing by my friend Aden Duale. I know you have been a pillar. You've always been there for us during the highs and the lows. And I am very happy that today you're here again to celebrate this moment with my friend. I know a very strong case has been made for us to do what we should do. But listening to, reading the book by Duale, and I haven't quite gone into detail about that book and what Kindiki is about to do and what Papa Aroma is about to do, I do not know what will be left of me to write. Because these people have cannibalized what my story, and it's now being in bits and pieces. But I will assess what is left of my story at an opportune moment, and then I will write the balance. Maybe it will not be on the record. Maybe this time it will be off the record, or something. But let me say the following. Aden Duale is a solid, trusted, and dependable friend and Kenyan. I have walked and worked with him for 16 years. In that 16 years, we've gone through every kind of political experience and situation imaginable. In ODM, in UDM, in Jubilee. Together we founded a political home in URP, in UDA, and finally in Kenya Kwanza. Bare is a trusted and trustworthy person and has no time and place for political betrayal, backstabbing, and the use and dump philosophy perfected by many. I don't want to say who. When I found out Duale was writing a book, I was not surprised. In the years I have known Aden Duale, candor has been his most consistent quality. But candor is not enough if one does not have a story to tell and a message to deliver. The value of this book is that it tells a complete story. Often most people have a version of events and therefore fail to grasp the full import of certain actions and words, especially those of men and women in public life and political office. Honorable Duale has provided unprecedented access to 2 decades worth of political action, conversation, and events. From the 2005 referendum to the enactment of the 2010 Constitution, from the debacle that was the ICC cases to the 2013 elections, the creation and the rise of Jubilee, then the fall of and destruction of Jubilee, and the eventual victory of the Hustler Nation. This book tells the story of the biggest political events of Kenya's recent history in great detail, flavored with the unreserved frankness of Aden Duale. But this is not just a book about politics and politicians. It's the story of a man and his life in public service, a story that is forged in the heat of Garissa town and a deep lifelong faith in Kenya and Allah. It is a story that is made possible by hard work and the desire to make a difference for your people and also for your country. In one of the most profound chapters of the book, Honorable Duale discusses the intricate balance of playing a key role in the war on terror as a Muslim and the brave decisions he took to ensure that an entire religion did not pay the price for the actions of individuals. A stand that could have cost him everything, but he took it anyway. This book is a man bearing his soul out for all of us to read, so that we can understand how far he has journeyed in his experience of this country as a citizen and a public servant. It is a reflection on family, on faith, on leadership, and on the Republic of Kenya. One of the things I admire most about Honorable Aden Duale is his dedication to the people of Dujis and Garissa town, where he represented in Parliament and who he has advocated for in his entire time in government. In this book, his frustration at the lack of development in Kenya's north and his zeal and efforts to change the situation is clear for all of us to see. Perhaps because we are friends, perhaps because we are comrades. When I read this book, I get the sense that he has not written this book for entertainment. I get the sense that he is telling his story to enrich the history and record of those events. But more than that, I also see an argument, a stand for the kind of leadership Kenya needs and Kenya deserves. In this story, in this book, the events he has enumerated, the intrigues, the deceit, the betrayal, gives us a glimpse of a different side of politics. That politics doesn't always have to be deceitful. It doesn't always have to be about betrayal. It doesn't always have to be brutal. Politics can be what Aden Duale and myself are today. It can speak to friendship. It can speak to loyalty. It can speak to working together. And it can speak to protecting one another. I can say without a doubt that being friends with Aden Duale is not easy. He's a very difficult man. Because whatever he believes in, he believes in. And sometimes I ran into a lot of trouble with many of my friends because of Aden Duale. But when it mattered, when it counted, you could count on Aden Duale. Problems aside, challenges aside, But when it mattered, he was in the right place all the time. And that has also inspired me to be loyal to my friends. Because the people who stand with you when nobody wants to stand with you, you should stand with them when nobody wants to stand with them. I know many people in this journey told me, this Aden Duale is giving us problems. He has chased everybody, the people, I don't know what he has done, this. But when the chips were down, Aden Duale was there to be counted on. And that made the whole difference. I have quite a bit of a story to tell. When I read this book, I felt nostalgic that even though Aaron has thrown a few jabs on me with veiled accusations of on many things, but that time will come, and we will put it down in paper, and I'm sure it will make some good reading. This book by Aden Duale is about partnership, and it also speaks about betrayal. It's a book about democracy. It's also a book about elections. But generally, it's a book about Kenya. And I recommend as many as can to read this book. There are lessons in this book. There are ideas also in this book. And there are clues in this book about where Kenya has been, where Kenya is, and where possibly Kenya could be. My younger mentee, Silvana Sosoro, you have some good chapters here to read for the work you do in Parliament, and many of your colleagues. As we all know, there is great power in telling our own stories. As Africans, we know that dignity can be lost in having others tell your story. And so I want to thank Honorable Duale for making the effort and the time to tell the story he has told, for this significant dose of truth. And I think we all needed this book at this point in time. I want to encourage my good brother, younger Professor Kithure Kindiki, to expedite his works. And the rest of us. I would really want to read a story, the book of Cecily Mbarire, a girl, and allow me to say that, a girl that I really admire because she's intelligent, measured, and makes the right decision. There is when I write my book, I'll write something about you. You know, there was a moment you really surprised all of us. We didn't expect you to make certain decisions, but we were amazed. And I know many of my friends know that. I am looking forward to the book of Papa Waroma. I know we will have a problem with the English, but we will try. We will try to read. I think we will need a dictionary to accompany, please, if you can, to interpret. And of course, all the rest of these good people here. I am truly happy this evening. In our midst, we have many friends, people we have journeyed together in this book and in many of the other books. We will read about all of us. In this book, we have the former presidents, we have President Uhuru Kenyatta in this book. We have Raila Odinga in this book. We have many of our other friends in different formations at different times, but it speaks to us as one people, the people of Kenya, irrespective of all the political permutations that keep evolving. Hopefully, with a dose of what Duale has said, we can make our politics much more subtle. We can eliminate deceit, betrayal, and conmanship from our politics, and make our politics much more decent, much more people-centered, and we can build on solid political parties and political formations that are anchored around a philosophy about our country, about where we want to take our country. And we will keep, and I have told many of the younger politicians that we are available to mentor the younger politicians. It is the best thing we can do for our country. And we want the younger politicians to be better than us. We want them to be better than, so that they can do better than we have done for our country. We all want to retire into a country where we have better leaders with better ideas, with better plans than we could ever put together. That is our the heritage we can put in place, and part of it is what Duale has done, to write a book, so that apart from the mentorship we are giving these younger ones, they can also read, they can internalize, and they can learn, and we can have a better country. So again, I think it is a big challenge that Duale has placed on our doorsteps for us to also document what is good, what is not so good, our successes, our failures, our frustrations, our joys in a book, so that it can help others as they journey in our country, in leadership, and in every other sphere. So again, this evening I am truly, truly proud. Congratulations, Aden Bare Duale, my friend. You have taught me loyalty. You have learned from me loyalty. And we've all grown together as friends. And hopefully we can, the younger politicians can learn from us that loyalty pays. It's paid for me. I'm sure it's paid. We all know it has paid for Duale. It's good to be genuine about friendships. It's good to be loyal to friendship. And it's also good also to speak your mind when times calls for speaking your mind. And I don't want to say many things because I have good material for my book. Yeah, on many of these people sitting here and all the things that we've come through. And you agree with me that I have a very difficult team. Just imagine Isaac Ruto on one corner, very difficult person, very problematic. Aden Duale on another, very problematic. And somehow you have to figure out how all these people must be part of a team. It is quite something. But by the grace of God, we have always built a team. And of course, we are waiting for Rigiji to write the book about the truth. I think yours, we call it the truth. Maybe the whole truth or something. All right. Yeah. So again, congratulations, Duale, congratulations, Mama and the family, and to all the future writers who are here and those who are not here. Asanteni sana. I don't know whether I said everything I wanted to say. I think I'm also a bit excited. I think I've said everything I wanted to say. So congratulations, asante sana.
It was the National Assembly pushing the agenda of Jubilee and President Uhuru Kenyatta. So when he was sacked, I was very happy because he was now available for us in matters strategy and in matters messaging. And we took advantage with people being treated unfairly. Kenyans knew the kind of work Aden Duale had done for the President, Kenyatta and Jubilee, and were very unhappy the way he had been treated. So when we were going out with the President,
I want to ask my colleagues and all Kenyans watching, for one thing, their forgiveness. I have been in this parliament for years, and I may have said words or done things that may have annoyed you, wronged you, or offended someone. I may never know what some of those were, but every time it was brought to my attention, I had acted in an offensive manner. I reached out to the aggrieved parties and we buried action. I ask that as I go to the executive, you also grant me that honor. Sometimes, due to the nature of our politics, of firmness required to execute the assignments, I may have upset or offended you. I apologize unconditionally to anyone in this house and outside this house who I may have wronged.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, Your Excellency, Mr. Deputy President, ladies and gentlemen, let's now welcome to the stage the man of the hour and moment, the Defense Cabinet Secretary, Aden Duale.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, and my longtime friend, Your Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President, a good man and a honest man. Your Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, our Prime Cabinet Secretary, Your Excellency the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Wetangula, and a long-serving Minister for Foreign Affairs, Cabinet colleagues, Excellencies and Ambassadors present, governors, the leadership of the Parliament, all members of Parliament present, friends, book lovers, and my good friends from the Fourth Estate. Good evening. Your Excellency, thank you again, and all of you, for honoring this invitation to come and assist me in launching this book. For the record, it has been in the works for about 3 years. It was conceived during one of my lowest moments, the day I was abruptly fired as the leader of Majority Party in the National Assembly in June of 2020. At that time, I was upset at the betrayal, angry at the backstabbing, and I just wanted to breathe, and I had to process it all. Then a few weeks later, a friend sent me a package. It had books. the room where it happened, by the White House memoir by a man called John Bolton, a former U.S. National Security Advisor. I read it closely, and it clarified my thoughts. It confirmed that I had a story to tell. Now that I think back, I was a majority leader for just half of my political life. I owe it to the future leaders to speak about those early years of their life. Your Excellency, when I spoke to another friend about writing books, he went to the bookshop and brought me a book titled The Deep State, The Fall of the Constitution and the Emergency of a Shadow Government by a renowned New York Times writer. I then called my researcher friend, and we sat down for hours, taking and drinking many cups of tea, cups of spiced tea, Your Excellency. You know you have taken that tea in my house, chatting about this book. I think he read the pain, the regret, and the anger in my voice.
Major episodes of my life. He gave me an idea that I should call it not personal. As he left, he gave me a book.
Record by the former British Prime Minister.
And when I told another friend about the book idea, he said nothing personal doesn't sound.
It sounded life. This made my life and my remarks easier. I called the book For the Record because I worked in a house of records and I wanted to put everything on the record. Anyway, after 3 years in the works, this book is here, ready for launch. Today, Your Excellency, is a special day. I am so happy to be standing here to lift the veil about the country's politics and its leadership. Distinguished colleagues, guests, and book lovers, for those who have not read the book, I will not want to spoil it for you, but perhaps I'll just tell you that it is the story of my life, my earliest memories as a young man in Garissa. You know, before the CBC, the competence-based curriculum, I used to sit with my mom every night. All my siblings did. She did not go to school, but she used to check our homework after it was marked. She knew which questions I had answered incorrectly, and she taught me something which I apply to my family today. Also check that people know what they're doing and that they're doing it correctly. For instance, I don't speak French, but I harass my children when I see a cross or an X on their French homework. Those who have worked with me know that I seek to understand everything. Now you know where it all came from. And yes, my colleagues, and also my cabinet colleagues, sitting here, and my boss, Your Excellency, Mr. President, and your deputy, you too have stories. And if we suffered a few years ago, is there anything to go by? You owe Kenyans books. I know that right now you are very busy, but when you get the time, please pen down your memos. Switching gears now, let me tell you that this is a book about politics, about power, about leadership, and about public policy. I write about how I got started in politics. I have worked very closely with all the key leaders in Kenya, the late President Mwai Kibaki, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and now with the current president, my boss and friend, Dr. William Ruto. I speak about the courage and loyalty and friendship as exemplified by my boss here. We have suffered together. We have thrived together. Mr. President is now leading us to transform this country. We have a lot of work to do, and I hope this book will alter those who are keen to sabotage our agenda or derail our progress, that we are all working for the people of Kenya. If we win, Kenya wins. There's also a chapter about legislative leadership. My colleagues from the parliamentary leadership sitting here, former Speaker J.D. Muturi and our current Attorney General, the current Speaker Moses Wetangula, Papa wa Roma, my cabinet colleagues, and former majority leaders in the Senate, Kithure Kindiki, who also became at one time our deputy speaker, and Kipchumba Murkomen, the current CS for transport. They all know how hard it was to set up a bicameral parliament, the tension between the two houses, and how we got to balance. I also tell the story of devolution as a chapter, and the tension between the Council of Governors and everyone else, including the executive and the two houses of parliament. My friend Isaac Ruto, Mr. Speaker, was to be here today. I invited him. He's on his way coming, because he's very central in this book. He was part and parcel of the struggle. He helped us pin together the URP Constitution. Many nights we sat with him at the family Biblica along State House Road. And of course, the famous ile pesa bado inaleta shida hata hapa ukimuuliza Mheshimiwa Rigiji. Still, the Senate, the National Assembly, and the county governors are still grappling with the same issue of ile pesa. But we are working on it, baking a bigger cake to make sure that we have enough for the counties, and the counties make enough to sustain themselves. It's not easy, but we are on course. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am sure many people do not know what we had to go through to pass laws. My opposition colleagues, the Honorable John Bandi, the Honorable Opiyo Wandayi, were to be with me here today, but because of the political inhygiene in our country, they asked me to pass their message, and that they cannot be here, and they have sent their apologies. But they know the secrets, and I have shared those in a book so that future leaders know how to apply the game to win for the people of Kenya. Sometimes we have to push through necessary laws to make sure we kept our country safe, to make our economy friendly for domestic and foreign investment, and to make sure Kenya got the best deal. The record speaks for itself. Whenever there was legislative overreach, the other arms of government, such as the judiciary and the executive, did their job. It's the beauty of our Constitution. As a leader of majority in the National Assembly, you do a lot of work. You are the leader of government business, and at the same time, you're also a parliamentarian with a constituency. You have to know how to work with the cabinet secretaries, with the fellow MPs, and with the public. You automatically become the face of parliament. Do you guys remember when those activists and civil society fellows brought bloody pigs to parliament buildings and labeled the names of leaders, myself, the late Jacoya Bidio, the late Francis Nyenze, and many others? We have seen it all. I've had people attacking some of us who were in the last government for approving the debt ceiling under the Jubilee administration. The borrowing came from good place. We wanted to invest as we baked a bigger cake, but instead, people minted the money, changed the scope of the projects, and began diverting attention when we complain about the wanton corruption in the last 5 years of the previous administration. But seriously, how do you build a railway that ends in a thicket? Move business from Mombasa a thriving port in the East Africa to a bush. I know they say, build and they will come. But you don't need to kill the economy in one corner of the country for it to grow in another corner. Our development has to be inclusive, and I think we ought to have done better with the taxpayers' money. Thankfully, President Ruto corrected that policy mistake immediately he took over and took the port business back to Mombasa. There are many more that we are correcting, and we believe we will fix the economy and make it work for everyone. On the debt matter, we decided, because we are in a hole, we will not stop, we will stop digging. And as the president and his deputy have said many times, we have everything to make sure that we cut down on the borrowing, raise more funds, and rebuild our economy for the benefit of everyone. It will be painful in the beginning. As a businessman, as a Kenyan, and as a leader, I can tell you that we need to fix the economy now. We have to find money to pay the debts and grow our economy. And we can no longer borrow from Peter to pay Paul. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, is here. He appears in one of my important chapters. He knows the story of 2013. He bought a copy of my book a few days ago. I did not tell him the inside story of the Madimoni scandal. He has his version to tell us one day. But for the first time, he gets to hear my side of the story. Maybe Honorable Musalia, when he gets the chance to speak today, he will tell us his side of the story of the Madimoni scandal. Honorable Musalia Mudavadi is a very tough man, a brilliant economist. I tell everyone that Musalia's speech, known as the earthquake, was brilliant. He diagnosed Kenya's economic problem very well. He knew the situation, and now together we are working to remedy that. When Musalia said, "Tusidanganyane," I felt it. He spoke his truth, many truth, and the truth of 50 million Kenyans. I put that on record too, and I hope he'll get the time to also put it on record. And his speech appears in my book. Your Excellency and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there's a whole chapter on how we told disbelieving Kenyans that the cases of the ICC were political international conspiracy. Winning those cases was a master class in politics and in geopolitics. You just have to read the book to understand what the current president and the former president had to go. What we had to do to tell our friends, and many, many friends internationally and locally, that we knew their schemes and we were never going to deliver, their schemes are not going to deliver justice to the post-election violence victims in our country. But a book like this must have a very candid chapter, Mr. President. I have written a chapter on my ouster in 22 minutes. My ouster took 22 minutes at KICC. I served for 7.5 years, and it all came crashing in less than half an hour. Can you believe it? What could this book be without the inside story of the handshake and the suffering method out to my colleagues and Kenyans in the dying days of the Jubilee administration? You see, sometimes we think it's all politics. However, politics can get too costly. It affects the life of real people. We can be mature about it, play our politics progressively, putting public interest first. I have done it in my constituency for the last 16 years, and my development record gotten me elected 4 times in 4 elections in 4 different political parties. I just hope that putting this on the record, for the record, will help us and give us lessons to politicians. There is more at stake. They need to work for the people who elected them into office. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished book lovers, as I conclude, let me recap that if this book inspires any hustler to pray to God, to work hard, and strive to succeed, then my job is done. I dedicated this book to my mother, a woman of courage, for teaching me all the values, and to the young people of this country, for all the hopes and the hot fires that you lit under our seats. I hope young people, and more so even in my house, and I think all I can speak for them when I say that as a government, we hear you. We will do everything we can under the leadership of our president to make sure you achieve your dreams. I also have a word to all the young leaders in Kenya who are excited about being in public office. Deliver what you promise. You have the next 4 years to do your job. If you don't, I am sorry, your opponent will have you for dinner. It's really a matter of planning. I hope my book helps you, will help you get more political lessons. Finally, I want to thank you all for coming. I don't take it for granted that you braved the traffic to be here for this launch. I'll be signing copies after the event. There are more books being sold out there. Grab one for yourself and more for your friends. You can still get the book from my website, www.adenduale.com, or from Nuria Bookshop, Prestige Bookshop, Yaya Bookstop, Kibanga Books, and many others. Your Excellency, and under my conclusion, let me pay tribute to men and friends who sit here, who played the ultimate role in a very difficult journey. The Honorable Minister for Interior, Professor Kindiki. He appears in my book at one page or one chapter as a brilliant constitutional lawyer who spent with us many days and nights at The Hague. And on other chapters, he appears as a leader of majority who became a victim of the deep state and the systems. And just because we happen to be your friend, when we didn't choose to be a friend, we all found ourselves in the space of politics. The Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, the Honorable Cecily Mbarire, the Honorable Aaron Choriot, Your Excellency, who you remember, he came to the House through a by-election. And I remember there was a Kericho by-election and a Malindi by-election, when in one of my chapters, I received a 411, where myself and Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen and others were implicated in a certain issues. So that chapter, I don't want to read for you that chapter, and that chapter, Your Excellency, is called "You Have Touched a Life Wire" in my book. Your Excellency, the former Speaker of the National Assembly, J.B. Muturi, has a lot of places in my book. Advice he gave to the former president when our colleagues in the Senate were replaced, and now the knife was coming for those of us. And overall, the day that there was changes in the National Assembly, Your Excellency, the only person I felt for was the Honorable Cecily Mbarire, the governor of Embu now. I said they should have left this lady alone. Those of us, when we go home, we can still survive. Your Excellency, our great Deputy President, a man of serious words. And today somebody told me, the only other politician we expect to write a book like yours is Rigiji. is a man of the truth. So we expect Honorable Rigathi. Our two brothers, Your Excellency, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi and Honorable Moses Wetangula, the earthquake, the conference that we went to Bomas, and the speech he gave, and the leaders who ran away when they saw you, is well documented, Your Excellency, in this book. Your Excellency, your speech at both Bomas 1 and Bomas 2 is well documented. And when I look at that speech you gave, the first Bomas, Your Excellency, at least we were there, myself and Honorable Kipchumba spoke. But in the second Bomas, because we were no longer part of their club, you are the only one who was there. And we felt for you as we watched from the TV screens that what will they do to this man? But God gave you the courage and the patience, and you took a lot of time. I drew a lot of lessons from your patience. They were heckling you and you could say, so is it? You think so? It was like, you think so? If you can convince me, I am ready to listen to you, very calmly, They humiliated you. So there's a huge chapter on that, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, my journey with you in ODM in 2005, and for record, the only time in my political journey with the President, and he allowed me a sabbatical leave, agreed, was during the 2010 Constitution. And I told him, Your Excellency, you know that few key areas that are dear to the community and the region I come from. The card is caught. And today when I look back, I am so proud that even during that referendum, where the former Prime Minister, the former President, the former Vice President, the whole government was on one side and you on the other side, you managed to get behind you over 2.5 million Kenyans who agreed with you. And Your Excellency, as I finish, he went to Mandera to go and preach the no campaign. And the President went to Ramu. And the Ramu constituency was where the chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on the Constitution, the Honorable Abdikadir, was coming from. So he went 1 week earlier, and he talked to the elders. In the north, you talk to people under the acacia tree. So in every town, there's one acacia tree that all meetings are held. So we went there. After 2 weeks, we went to Mandera. We went to the same acacia tree. And when the meeting started, I don't want to go into the issues the elders have raised. When the meeting started and the prayers were conducted, an old nomadic elder stood up from the back of the crowd with his bakora and he said, before you start, and we are with serious people, the late Honorable Haji, who was the Minister for Defense, the Honorable George Saitoti, the Kalonzo Musyoka, and he said, gentlemen, wait a minute, before you start your meeting, William Ruto was here under this acacia tree. He raised 3 fundamental issues. I won't say them. You'll find them in the book. Because I don't want to offend people. And he says, unless you answer those 3 questions, which he said is in this constitution, you will not start your meeting. And we pleaded, please listen to us, listen to us. He now mobilized other few elders. And he said, William Ruto's questions must be answered. And you can imagine, we left that place without answering any talking to the people. When in the 2005, finally, there was a referendum of the banana and the orange. And that time I was a young member of parliament. And the Iron Lady of then, and the powerful Minister for Constitutional Affairs, you'll find in my book, called Mother Karua, and George Saitoti, and Kalonzo Musyoka, and many others went to Garissa. And by then, that region was completely against the Constitution, because there was extrajudicial killing, there were many issues. So they were not allowed to address a rally in Garissa. Unfortunately, with all her arrogance, it's in my book, Mother Karua stood and called a press conference, and because she was so powerful, she told the Minister Saitoti and the local administration that you guys, we can come to Garissa, have a cup of tea, not address the people. You mean you can't even convince and talk to these refugees? A whole region, in her opinion, was inhabited by refugees. Your Excellency, I want to thank you for coming. I have many things to say, but I want to sell my book. I want money. And Your Excellency, you afford alone yesterday in the Standard. By evening, I have sold 400 copies. Today, by you gracing this occasion, I think we have surpassed 600 copies so far. Please buy my book. The proceeds will go to charity in honor of my late mother, because she deserves a lot. And Your Excellency, on the outset, I want to thank the editorial team. You will not find an error in my book. I want to thank and applaud the editorial team that helped me put this book together, the legal team that made sure the people I have described in this book will not go and take me to litigation, and did the copyright, and finally the bookstores who have in the last 10 days helped me sell my book. Your Excellency, finally, I want to thank most sincerely the diplomatic corps. The Dean of the African ambassadors is here, the EU ambassador is here, the French ambassador is here, the Turkey ambassador is here, the Saudi ambassador is here, representative of the British ambassador is here, the Swiss ambassador is here, and the UAE representative is here, and many, the Moroccan ambassador is here. I really want to thank the diplomatic community. I want to thank my colleagues, members of parliament who are here. David Ocheng is here. I have a lot of stories in my book about David Ocheng. The chairman of the Pastoralist Parliamentary Group is here. Our cabinet colleagues are here. Senior government officials are here. Religious leaders are here. Defense attaches at the back I'm seeing from our foreign governments based in Nairobi. Your Excellency, that's my story. Thank you very much. Please buy my book, help me sell, and I hope the President was committed to me. When I showed him this book, he looked at me and said, what? And you know where we were? We were 33,000 above sea level. We were heading to Kampala. So I just came to his cabin and said, Your Excellency, this is the book I wrote. He looked at me and laughed and said, welcome, Honorable Isaac Ruto. Please clap for Isaac Ruto. Thank you, Your Excellency, and I'll now the mic and maybe give about 2-3 minutes to very few of my colleagues who must share this journey together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the Defense Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Aden Duale, Your Excellency, Mr. President, Your Excellency, Deputy President. We'll go to the dignitaries that have been listed who will be speaking between 3 to 5 minutes for the running order to be in order. I now welcome to the podium Isaac Ruto. who has just stepped into the podium. The first Bomet County Governor, the first Council of Governors Chairperson, and a friend in the trenches with the Honorable Aden Duale. Yes, you can use this.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Chief Cabinet Secretary, Speaker of the National Assembly, my good old, must apologize, the Deputy President, Your Excellency, Honorable Duale, Waziri, Tika, your Defense, Cabinet Secretary is present, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and all the distinguished guests. Your Excellency, I must apologize for coming late. If I had seen Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, I would have asked him to apologize on my behalf, because I was held up at the escarpment for more than 2 hours. And I think it's all your fault. It can't be mine. There is no way it can be my fault. Anyway, Your Excellency, I must apologize for coming late, but just in time to speak. We kept in touch with Honorable Duale. Now, this is a great day for us. Honorable Duale has been a good old friend. A lot of people do not know how close we are with Honorable Duale, because of sometimes we do some bit of public spots together, but all we enjoy the game. We've worked with Honorable Duale for a long time, especially during the 10th Parliament. And I'm sure one of the reasons why he was sacked as an assistant minister may have been something to do with his close associated with some of us. And he lost his job. I know presidents normally don't say why they have sacked. I don't know whether President Ruto will be different, but they normally, they normally don't tell us when you are being fired. It just happens that in the afternoon you are no longer in the office. Honorable Duale was one such victim, but we worked together. We pushed especially the agenda of the new constitution together in Parliament. We also stood for those that appeared to us to be unfairly treated. And Honorable Duale speaks his mind. And I think that is one of the things we share. He speaks his mind, even if you are not in agreement with it, he will tell it to you to your face. And I think we are grateful for the rise that has happened. And I have not had the occasion to read the book, but I'm sure it must have said all that which is true, because he just notified me yesterday and I was in the villages. And I told him I'll definitely make it to come here. But Honorable Duale, I hope you'll continue being forthright, and I'm sure you have told us the whole truth in the book. It's good to be forthright. It's good to say that which you believe is right. And therefore, Honorable Duale, thank you very much. I'm sure this book ni ya mama yako na yangu na wewe tuendelee namna hiyo. Asante sana and God bless you.